to the air. Dell will dance, dive, and score! What a play, Tank Dell! Touchdown pass, Stroud, 6-yard bullet, and Dell with the lunge. An incredible response by the Houston Texans to that Bengal touchdown moments ago. First and goal. Stroud, he's got 6. He's in for the touchdown. First and 10. Little high. Oh, it's picked off. Intercepted on the play by Houston Carson. Springs back up. Then brought down on the play by Volson. First and goal. Boyd caught and ran for 64. Oh, down goes Burrow. Rankins putting up one of the best performances of his terrific career. Underneath they go again. Getting close. Breaking free. Brown breaking free. Brown to the 20. Bulldozing down there. Off the practice squad for the lead. And it is good. It is good. Amendola from 38 yards. And the final is in. And the Texans have won it.
Oh my God. Was that awesome yesterday or what? Hell yeah, baby. Happy Monday. A victory Monday, as they now say, on Kirby Drive at NRG Stadium as your beloved, our beloved Houston Texans, the wayward son, finally above 500 for the first time in a long time with a signature win against a legitimate Super Bowl contender where your rookie quarterback looked better than the guy who's probably the second best quarterback in all of the NFL. Wow. I am pumped today. After what was a great weekend in Houston sports, I think a lot of people are happy that the Astros hired Joe Espada. Press conference later this afternoon, I think 11 o'clock. Technically, that's the morning. You've also got the Rockets, 6 wins in a row. They beat the defending champion Denver Nuggets last night. Friday, NBA Cup action. They get a win over the Pelicans. The Houston Dynamo win a game against Real Salt Lake to advance to the MLS Cup playoffs. Nobody was there, but guess what? Your boy was. Your boy was, being a great Italian fan. Texas A&M got rid of Jimbo Fisher. What a great day to be a Houston sports fan. Sean Mapes is thumbing down that. But everything else, Sean, with the cherry on top, that Texans win yesterday, ooh, baby. I am hot and bothered. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm just not big on celebrating, people losing their jobs, Paul. But
most Aggies are today. This is a big day for the Aggies. Guess what? When you can afford to pay your troubles away, it is a good thing. I'm actually spin zoning it for the Aggies. This is a good day to be an Aggie fan.
Yeah.
You got a lot of money.
I just have empathy for, him having to move his family.
Man, it must be so hard to make $100 million to not work.
I'm actually not sure if he's married. Yes, it has been a perfect, other than a man losing his job, it's been the perfect sports weekend for, I guess you could have like team win a championship, but it's a perfect. Well, now it seems like I'm cheapening it if I say a perfect regular season. But
it was. I mean,
it was a good weekend.
The NBA Cup is kind of the postseason, and the MLS Cup is actually the postseason. So there was a little
NBA Cup
postseason.
Is not the postseason.
It is.
It's the mid-season tournament.
Yeah.
Mid-season.
It's the postseason.
In season is in the name.
Yeah, but it's postseason because it's a postseason.
It's tournament play.
Postseason vibes, just like Sunday. Postseason vibes for the Texans.
It did have postseason vibes. Maybe because the Texans beat the Bengals, and that's like 30% of all their playoff wins. But it felt pretty playoffy.
It was pretty incredible. And here's the thing, I so badly want this city to be a place where we are operating like Astros fans for everything. Where we are nitpicking good things, because that's when you know you've got it made.
Oh, a couple plays go the other way. I got something for offensive genius Bobby Slowick, but they won, so he gets to be an offensive genius still.
Well, Sean, I'm glad you brought that up, and we'll talk about those in a little bit, because I do want to start with the positive. But I know the final score had only 3 points of separation between the Texans and the Bengals, but don't get it twisted. It's not just that the Texans won that game yesterday. The Texans kicked the Bengals' ass. Paul, they won on the last second field goal. Yes, you are right. It got close at the end. They got to stop playing with their food. Parents relate. You learn to swallow over time. Talking about children. This was no lucky last-second W for the Texans, though. They're a young team. We believe they're improving, and they could have won this game yesterday by a ton of points. I'm going to go through all of the opportunities that they had where they shot themselves in the foot or had some bad luck. First quarter, 4th and 1 at the Bengals 8, down 7-0. They fumbled the snap. Could have been 3 points, could have been 7 points right there. Second quarter, 3rd and 6 at the Bengals 31. Stroud throws an incomplete pass that was called a fumble. I have no idea what the hell that call was. You know it's a bad sign for the refs on the field when the paid referee analyst isn't taking their side. Gene Steratore seemed pretty damn confused by that ruling. So, could have been a tough field goal attempt for Matt Amendola, who made all 3 of his, but that's another potential 3 points off the board, if not 7 eventually. Second quarter, it's 3rd and 7 with 15 seconds left in the half. The Texans have a timeout. Stroud hits Dalton Schultz right in the hands. Texans would have had the ball at the 4-yard line with at least 2 plays to potentially score a touchdown. They settled for a field goal on that drive. Early in the third quarter, the Texans had the ball at the Bengals 3. C.J. Stroud, who did a bunch of incredible jobs of extending plays in yesterday's game, somehow found Robert Woods in the back of the end zone for a touchdown. I guess he stepped out the back of the end zone. Generally, you trust the referee who's on the back line to determine whether or not the guy was inbounds or out of bounds. CBS camera crews are always lacking in terms of having the angles at replay to show whether or not he was in or out. I honestly have no idea whether or not Robert Woods was in or out. I really don't. But that could have been a touchdown. Instead, they have to settle for a field goal. 5:50 to play. C.J. Stroud hits Noah Brown over the middle. Maybe it's a little bit high, but it hit Brown in the face mask. They would have had a first down. They would have been in potential field goal range. So, right there, we're talking 17 to 29 potential more points there. I did my math. They could have won this game by a lot more. And, yeah, they let Cincy back into it. First off, with the big plays that they allowed. 3 Cincinnati plays accounted for 160 of their 380 total yards. 2 of them were touchdowns. And then, of course, you have those third down pass calls. Good God. The play action that was intercepted that Stroud threw. Oh, my God. Take the sack, buddy. Bobby Slowick, you got a little too cute. I get it. You're from the Kyle Shanahan coaching tree. Explosiveness. Shots. Run the ball.
Pew, pew.
Exactly, Sean. Well, that's what I want to do to whoever ran that in. Pew, pew. Squirt gun, of course, because we can't do the real gun on Twitter or on in the emoji world anymore. That would be cancelable. But whoever called that in, bad job. If this was a good team over the last couple of years, we would be crushing Slowick for that. We would be nitpicking that more than anything in the victory. But again, the Texans are babies. Then next third down opportunity, it's 3rd and 3. Singletary had 30 carries for 150 yards. Let's throw it deep down the right sideline and run no time off the clock. So all those things that I just listed there, and obviously football is a game of inches. Football is a game of woulda, shoulda, coulda. But the Texans kicked the Bengals' ass on Sunday, and those are all the places where the final score would have been a lot different than the one that we saw yesterday. And what I'm looking forward to, because it's definitely going to happen, is a moment in the future where we, as those who follow the Houston Texans or root for the Houston Texans or cover the Houston Texans, can bitch and moan about all of those things. Instead, we're like, yeah, you know what? It's a young team. They're playing against an actual Super Bowl contender on the road. You expect those things to happen. But some of those things change. We're talking about a Texans ass kicking. And yeah, the Texans kicked the Bengals ass yesterday, even though they won the game on a walk-off field goal. 713-780-3776 to call in and to text in. No team's ever going to be perfect. We're a lot more forgiving with a young Texans team, but they stomped the Bengals throughout this one. And yeah, there was some luck on their own front too. Stroud could have thrown at least one pick, and Boyd did drop that, what would have been go-ahead touchdown in the last couple of minutes. Hit him right in the hands after Sheldon Rankins, with his 3rd sack of the game, made it a very difficult goal-to-go situation for the Bengals. No doubt about it. But that was an ass-kicking yesterday. Do not let the 3-point final margin of victory, the walk-off field goal, fool you. The Texans just kicked a Super Bowl contender's ass. The score just begs to differ. But Paul, the score's all that matters. Shut up. That argument was great, and you know it. You know it. 713-780-3776 to call in. To text in as well. You can join on Twitch, twitch.tv/ESPN975. And you can tweet me as well, @GallantSays. I suppose that for some University of Houston Cougar football fans, the weekend could have been a little bit better if, I don't know, the Cougs followed suit with what Texas A&M did. Would that have made it a little bit better? I think some people are very frustrated with Dana Holgerson still running the show with those Cougs.
That'll be...
We're calling for another man's job, but I mean...
Yeah. That'll probably be maybe a couple more weekends.
Come on, Mississippi State did it today, too. Everyone's firing their coach. Just fire your coach.
It's hilarious that Mississippi State and A&M played a game on Saturday, and on Monday, neither of them... by Monday, both of them fired their coach.
It's crazy that Texas A&M won that game, too.
I mean...
They decided on Thursday. They let him coach the game, cold-blooded. And then after the game, not knowing he was about to be canned, he said they were 3 to 4 plays away from being a playoff team.
I mean...
That's true.
No, not really.
That is true. They were technically 3 to 4 plays away.
Sure. If you just take every interception and turn it into a touchdown, maybe.
Maybe.
Selectively.
Maybe.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd get it why A&M fired Jimbo Fisher, because it's like a win against Mississippi State should not change the way you view your program.
It shouldn't.
It's honestly kind of stupid that any college team would be like, well, let's see. We want to fire him, but let's see how he does the last 3 games of the season.
Great point. But, I mean, Jimbo Fisher was pulling out all the stops before this game. Did you see how they had somebody dressed up as Max Johnson warming up so that Mississippi State would think that Max Johnson maybe would play? In Jimbo's defense, if Connor Wigman doesn't get hurt, where are we right now? I don't think Jimbo gets fired without Connor Wigman getting hurt.
They don't get fired, or he doesn't get fired, but
people are annoyed.
They're probably then only 2 or 3 plays away from being in the playoff.
Yeah, there you go.
Instead of 3 or 4.
That's Sean Mapes Behind the Glass. I'm Paul Gallant. It's the Paul Gallant Show, the most interactive sports talk show in Houston. A question for you. After the Texans won that game, what is the ceiling for this year's team? What is the ceiling for the 2023 Houston Texans? 4 options here. 10 wins. By the way, who was the only host at ESPN 97.5 and 92.5 who predicted that the Texans would have 10 wins this year? Do you know, Sean?
Josh Beard?
Nope, me.
Oh.
Josh Beard called me an idiot when I said that. 37% have voted for division title as the ceiling for the 2023 Texans. The other options, 1 or more playoff wins, Super Bowl. Division title as the ceiling is 37%. 10 wins, 23.9%. 1 or more playoff wins, 22.8%. An amazing 16% think Super Bowl is the ceiling.
I mean,
how times have changed in just 2 weeks.
Yeah. Technically, it is the ceiling. If you're saying they make the playoffs, then
it's the ceiling for every team when you think about it.
Yeah, well, and
it was a ceiling for last year's team too. Under Lovie Smith, it was a ceiling for the team the year before that.
Until you're mathematically eliminated. Yeah. By the way, you saw them against the Bengals. Bengals are a pretty good team, huh?
Pretty good. Super Bowl contender.
Jags, pretty good, huh?
Well, I don't know about that.
Well, they might make the playoffs. Ravens. They hung in there.
Hung in there. That's true.
Ravens stuck down. Texans stuck up.
Bucks, they're in playoff contention.
Yeah, if we see them in the Super Bowl,
Colts,
we got their number.
They're 5-5. So, I mean, that loss looks a little bit better. The Falcons lost to Kyler Murray. Murray next up on the schedule for the Texans. How about that?
Texans would be out if they had a playoff committee, because they have some pretty rough losses.
Yeah, they do.
They don't have any good wins or good losses. Quality losses.
Any team can win on any given Sunday in the NFL, Sean. People don't say that enough.
They should make a movie about that.
I would love to watch it. Have they ever done that before?
Old quarterback gets hurt.
Yeah, I don't know.
Popping
maybe
pills.
You know, we have an old white quarterback, and we have a young black quarterback. And there's a racial dynamic that we add in there too.
Yeah, and we need a coach with some gravitas.
Yeah, like an over the top Italian. Yeah,
De Niro.
Oh, that sounds great. I love that. Look at that. It's like we're doing lines in a studio here. You know, we're just putting out bangers.
That's the Liberty White powder that's all over your desk right now.
Hell yeah! Listen, we're just doing what everybody else does. We're just remaking movies. It's fine. Any Given Sunday 2, The Legend of Curly's Gold. In my opinion, answering this question that I asked you, a division title is no longer the ceiling. It's the expectation. So I'm in one or more playoff wins. I'm expecting a division title right now. Did you see the Jaguars yesterday? We'll talk about it a little bit in the 10-minute drill. But the Jaguars are frauds. Frauds. I did spell it right there. Frauds. They got their asses kicked by the 49ers. And the 49ers are a really good team, but they had lost 3 in a row. You would think that the Jaguars, if they were a true competitor, would hang in that game. And I'm sorry, I just do not buy into them. I go back to last year. They only won that playoff game because the Chargers outchoked them. They threw 4 interceptions in the first quarter. Trevor Lawrence, very overrated, on the same level as, speaking of the Chargers, Justin Herbert. And I think they're going to win the division. Now it's a matter of, okay, how many games can you win in the playoffs? In an AFC that I do not know really who is the second best team. The Chiefs are the front runner because they're the Chiefs. Who's the second best team? I honestly do not know the answer to that question because the Baltimore Ravens yesterday blew a lead against the Cleveland Browns. Maybe the Browns are? Deshaun Watson looked great in the second half, as much as I want to continue to dump on him. He was awful in the first half, but second half he was 14 of 14. And the Browns scored on all 3 of the offensive drives that they had, including a game-winning field goal to wrap the thing up. But for me, division title is no longer the ceiling. It's the expectation. 1 or more playoff wins is the ceiling, I think, for this Texans team.